Hey guys, thanks for tuning into DriveBy today. It's 91 degrees, June 12th, 2015. I'm heading to Arcadia. I'm on County Road 761. I hope everybody's doing healthy wise. Hey guys, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I hope everybody's doing great. Listen, I wanted to bring up a subject here, and this is going to be related to the Glock pistols. And I wanted to bring up a subject on the springs. Okay, springs on a Glock pistol. And the only reason I wanted to bring up this because it's kind of important. Why not? I mean, why you should not change the springs on a Glock pistol, on a factory Glock pistol, of course, that isn't. Springs on the Glock pistols are really designed that way for a reason. Also, most of your springs on the Glock pistols are coated with a special rust-proof, durable coating. Even if you sand them down, that is still in the metal. You do that on purpose. It's a military-grade coating that they put on the springs. Many times you buy aftermarket parts, they're going to give you extra springs. And those springs, most of the time, I would probably not use them. I would probably still use the Glock springs. They say they're better, they're heightened, and all this. I don't think so. Glock, is the developer of the gun. I would be very, very careful. I know for sure, probably 3 springs you should not change are the trigger springs. You should not change the firing pin safety spring or the plunger spring and the firing pin spring. Especially going with a heavier one, that's insanity, because if you go too heavier on a spring and a firing pin, there is some cases where primers, they're getting thinner and thinner. They use a different substance in them now. They're trying to get away from some of the explosive substances, and it requires less of a primer strike. And what happens is you're putting these heavy springs on these firing pins, and then when you fire that gun, that you may pierce the primer, and then you're going to get a lot of exhaust gases going into your firing pin channel. Just age it more, degrade it, and whatever. But I wanted to bring that up, on the springs. I'd be very careful changing those. You really have no need to. You can pretty much polish everything that you got in there. But people are saying lighter strikers, heavier springs. Lighter striker, heavier spring, or lighter firing pin, heavier spring, means that is going to be more pressure on your primers. So you got to be careful of that, because the primers, a lot of times, you can get some thin wall primers. They are going to the thinner ones to save on money, and there was some kind of, I think it was EPA related, they wanted to change the primer cup explosive in there. So I don't, and I know that for a fact there has been cases where people have put really higher pounded springs in them and have actually pierced the primer pocket, cut a hole in it. So you got to be really careful. And also, that's going to give you more wear on the front of your striker. You're going to get more wear. You might chip it. So just think about when they do that. You want to get the minimum, maybe a little bit teeny above the minimum, and that's just by tuning your gun. Possibly, change a recoil spring with the buffer pad. I would say okay on that. But if it's a stock Glock, there's no need to, really. But if you're lightening the slide, then yeah, you might have to reduce the spring pressure so it doesn't beat it up too much, or things like that. There's stuff out there, and you can even get factory Glock springs that'll work just as good. But be careful on the springs, because you can cause so much damage on your gun over a period of time, and especially on that firing pin plunger. I would not change that spring. I wouldn't mess with that. The most thing you might want to do is just polish it a little. If you really want a titanium one, polish it, send it out, get it titanium plated. Because then you'll have a factory one. Because that aftermarket stuff is not always the same quality as the factory. You can even look at the surface of it, some of the aftermarket ones are really rounded. They don't have the same contour as the non-factory ones. So, I don't know, did I say factory ones? I don't know what I meant. You know, the rounded ones are non-factory. They're not like the factory ones, which are a little bit more surface area on them. So be careful on the springs. You know, you don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to hurt anybody else. And if you're working on guns there, you know, I don't recommend putting all these crazy parts in there. You know, Glock parts work fine. If you want to dial them up, you can always dial up Glock parts. You can dress them up, you can color them, you can plate them, you can coat them. But I tend to like to stick with the factory parts. But thanks a lot, and that's just a little quick information on springs, Glock springs. You got to be careful with them when you're modifying spring pressures and spring tensions, because there's not very many parts in that gun. And if you modify it too much, you could have some problems, especially with the the firing pin and that safety plunger. I mean, the firing pin safety. You got to be careful of that, changing the springs. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning to my drive-by.